Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to add a camera to your Flutter app. So I'm going to show you how to take some pictures with the camera. So first off, you're just going to want to run that command flutter pub add camera. And I'm also going to show you how to share those pictures. So I'm going to add that share plus package as well. There's a few changes you're going to need to make inside your build.gradle file. So one of those is going to be to that min SDK version. So I'm just going to go ahead and update that to 21. There's also a change you're going to need to make inside your info.plist. You're just going to need to add permissions for the camera and for the microphone. You can change those strings to whatever you want and it'll show up inside your app. Now I'm heading over to my main.dart file. That's where all my code is. That's going to be my camera on screen and my button to take the photo, and also my preview of the camera shot. Going to define a list of camera descriptions, and that's going to be the cameras I have to choose from. It's going to default select the forward-facing one, but I will just show you that you can get those cameras and you can then set it to whichever one of those you wanted. If you wanted, you could create a list to choose from, or you could add some buttons to switch between different camera options. So the call to get the cameras is actually a long call, so you're going to await it. So basically await means we'll wait for that available cameras function to complete before the result of cameras gets set. And because of that, I need to set that main function to also be async. And I'm going to just run my app, which is going to be called camera app. So I'm going to go ahead and define my camera app now. I'm wanting a stateful app as I'm going to want to store the picture that's been taken in state. So to do that, I'm first going to define the stateful widget here. There's no real groundbreaking code in here, so I'm just going to fast forward through it. Now I'm going to define my class camera app state. That's where I'm going to handle all what I'm going to show on screen, and also just initializing my state and all that. Going to have a camera controller, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to show a camera on screen, and then I can go ahead and take a photo using that camera controller. Going to override init state, and I'm just going to call the parent init state, and I'm also going to set up my controller. I can use those cameras that I've already loaded. I waited for them to load. I'm just going to select the first one from that list. You can also set the resolution. After you've set that up, you can go ahead and initialize it, and once it's complete, then you can handle the result of that. That setting state's just going to make sure that that UI reloads. I then have this catch error, and all I'm going to do with that is just catch some errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm checking whether the error is a camera exception. If it is, I'll do some additional checks and print some specific messages based on that. If it's not a camera exception, then I'm just going to print it out as it is. You can choose to handle this how you want, and you may want to log it so that you can figure out any issues with your apps. So yeah, the tools you choose to use is up to you. So if the camera access is denied, I'm just going to print out that the camera access is denied. I could actually show this on screen if I wanted to as well, but in this case I'm not going to. If I were to do that, what I'd want to do is I'd want to set the state to have a message, which would be like an error message that I could show to users, and inside the widget tree, I would have a little text component that would display that error. Another thing I'm going to want to override is the dispose function. And so the reason I'm going to override this is basically when this view is disposed, I want to make sure I do some cleanup, so I'm going to dispose of that controller. And then I'll just call that super function dispose, which we'll just call the inherited dispose. Finally, I'm going to want to go ahead and write my function for actually showing the widgets that I want to on screen. So I'm overriding that build function. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to check that controller to see whether it's been initialized. And if it has been initialized, if it hasn't been initialized, I'm going to show a little message that says that there's no camera available. So inside my body of my app, I'm going to just have a little text component. It's just going to say no cameras available. So if it has been initialized, it means there are cameras available and I can go ahead and show my camera. So I'm going to create a material app and it's going to have a few things. So I'm providing a value for home, which is basically what's going to display on screen. And I'm giving a body to that, and that body is just going to be my camera preview, which is basically going to give me a preview of what is seen by the camera. And to that, I just pass my controller. Going ahead and just making sure that's all set up now inside Xcode, and now I'm running it, and I've given permission for it to use that camera preview. You saw that camera preview appeared on screen. So I was actually having some issues when there were no cameras available, and so that's what I'm fixing up right now. I'm adding this material app so that it will show that text no cameras available if they're not available. But you saw that preview when they were available, and you didn't see the no cameras available because I'd already accepted the permissions there. I might show you that again a bit later. So now that I've got my camera preview, I want to be able to interact with my camera. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm adding some floating action buttons so I can go ahead and take a photo. It'll also allow me to delete and share photos once I've got those, once I've got a photo taken. So I'm adding a floating action button that on press will take a photo, and I'm passing a child of icon, and I'm going to specify what icon I want, and I'm going to want that to be a camera so that when so it gives the user the prompt that they can click on it and take a photo. Now that I've got a camera, I'm going to want to go ahead and button, I'm going to want to go ahead and define my take photo function. I'm going to store my photo inside this photo file field, and I'm going to need to import from the .io package for this. So now I'm going to go ahead and write my take photo function. It's going to be asynchronous because it could be long running, as taking a photo could be a little bit long running. And I'm going to go ahead and get an X file from the camera. So I'm going to go controller.takePicture, and I'm awaiting that action. Then I'm going to set state just to trigger that reload, and I'm going to make sure that photo file is set to the value of the photo of a file using that photo's path that I've taken. I'm going to catch any errors and print them out here. You could handle them appropriately using whatever logging tooling you have. So now if I have a photo file available to me, I'm going to want to show it. Otherwise, I'm going to show that camera preview. So I'm checking whether the photo file is null, and if it is, I'll show that camera preview. Otherwise, I'm just going to show an image from a file, and I'm going to use that photo file to show that image. So you can see I've got this little camera here and the button, and when I click to take the photo, it now shows me an image. But it didn't change the button, so I need to also add some logic in to change the buttons when I have a photo showing. When a photo is showing, I'm going to want to provide a few different options. So it's either going to be to clear that photo so I can take a different photo, or to share that photo. So once again, I'm going to add a floating action button. On this one, I'm going to add an on-pressed delete photo. I'm just going to go ahead and define that function now. And I also am going to need to define the child for this floating action button. So once again, that's going to be an icon, and the icon is going to be a delete icon. So it shows the user that they should be looking to delete the photo with this button. Going to fill out this delete photo, and all I need to do if the delete photo button is clicked is set that photo file back to null, and then that will show that camera preview back again. So if I take a photo and click delete, you can see it takes me back to that camera preview so I can take a new photo. I can click it again and click delete, and it would take me back again. Finally, I'm going to go and show you how to share that photo now that you've taken a photo. It's not much use to have a photo inside your app. You're probably going to want to do something with it. So to do that, I'm going to use this Share Plus package that I previously installed. And so I'm just importing from that. I've got the share photo function that I've defined. and I'm going to go ahead and use my share, and I'm going to go share X file, which is my photo file, and I can use that photo file's path to create an X file to share. I can add some text along with that if I want, so I'm just going to do that to show you guys. I'm just going to say check out my photo. Now I need to go ahead and add a button for that action. So this is just a shared button. I'm just going to add a size box in between those so that there's a little bit of spacing there, just to make it look a little bit better. So now I'm adding my floating action button. On pressed, I'm going to share that photo. And then I'm going to define that child, which is going to be of an icon, and I'm going to specify the icon type, which is going to be share. Cool. So now if I open this up and take a photo, you should see two buttons, a delete and a share. If I click on that share, it's going to give me a few different options. So it shares with different groups, or I can do airdrop, or I can send it as an iMessage. There are many different options, and I can just go ahead and send it if I want to, and it will send. Taking that photo again, I can go ahead and delete if I wanted to. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. If you have, please like and subscribe for more content. All my code will be available on GitHub.